He has a venerable face. His hair is the color of ripe chestnuts, smooth almost to the ears, but above them, waving and curling with a slight bluish radiancy, and it flows over his shoulders. It is parted in the middle on the top of his head, after the fashion of the people of Nazareth. Although Christ's teaching and his apparent goodness would seem to transcend the significance of what he looked like, almost 100 generations of Christians have wanted some image toward which to direct their worship. One of the difficulties in providing visualization of Christ is that no artist who lived when Christ lived drew any likeness of him that exists today. Neither was any physical description provided in the Bible. Because the Christian movement was disapproved of by public officials, Christ's earliest followers used symbolic representations to conceal their affiliation. In an early church council, these and other symbols were disapproved, and it was decreed that from that time onward, Christ would be portrayed as a man. The first efforts to picture Christ seem to have been Byzantine, meaning done in the city of Byzantia, the Turkish capital, once Constantinople, now Istanbul. Many of them were mosaics done in the 3rd and 4th centuries. Christ was also frequently portrayed on the walls of the crypts in Roman cemeteries of that period. The book of Isaiah says of Jesus, "He was devoid of beauty and a sufferer." Many of the earliest artists formed their concept of him from this comment. A historian named Tertullian, who lived in the year 200, said of him, "There was nothing outstanding about Christ's flesh, and it was just this contrast with his personality which struck everyone." Far from emanating divine radiance, his body had not even simple human beauty. The passion and the humility he suffered left their mark, and it was deprived of all charm by his suffering. Neither lay nor theological historians have been able to reconstruct any chronological order to most of the events in Christ's life. Although nothing at all is known of him for more than 30 of his 33 years, artists were prolific portraying the infant and child Jesus. Some of the world's most treasured artworks are those of Christ with his mother. As the Christian movement spread and missionaries told the story everywhere, artists around the world painted the Jesus Christ they saw in their own mind. To the Christians of the Far East, he was Oriental. To the Indians, Indian. To the Africans, he was black. And who is to say otherwise if they see him so? It is probable that if Christ had been born Roman or Greek, contemporary likenesses of him would have been painted or chiseled in stone. Though he was not, many later representations of him borrow from Greek or Roman statuary. The sophistication of modern religious belief, where there is any at all, prohibits a literal visualization of the idea of Jesus Christ. A picture of God as a bearded and benign elderly gentleman in a flowing robe is unacceptable now, even to the true believer. As a result, Christ seldom inspires the imagination of the modern artist. And where he does, the image he paints is not apt to evoke reverence. Skepticism has dissolved the pigment on the canvas, leaving in its place a blurred image. An artist painting without a subject illustrates his own state of mind. The only description of Christ ever found is not generally accepted as authentic, but it has been the basis of many great works of art. It was said to have been written by a public official in Jerusalem during Christ's lifetime. There has appeared here in our time a man of great power named Jesus Christ. The people call him a prophet of truth, and his disciples the Son of God. He raises the dead and cures the sick. He is in stature a man of middle height and well proportioned. He has a venerable face. His hair is the color of ripe chestnuts, smooth almost to the ears, but above them, waving and curling with a slight bluish radiancy, and it flows over his shoulders. It is parted in the middle on the top of his head, after the fashion of the people of Nazareth. His brow is smooth and very calm, with a face without a wrinkle or blemish, lightly tinged with red. His nose and mouth are faultless. His beard is luxuriant and uncreased, of the same color as his hair, not long, but parted at the chin. His countenance is full of simplicity and love. His eyes are expressive and brilliant. He is terrible in reproof, sweet and gentle in admonition, cheerful with ceasing to be grave. His figure is slender and erect. His hands and arms are beautiful to see. He is the fairest of the children of men. Belief is a quality of its own. It is a virtue independent of that which is believed in. Carl Sandburg said it best for our time. The Christ head, the Christ face, what man will ever paint, chisel, or carve it, he asked. When finished, it would float and gleam, cry and laugh with every face born human. And how, the poet asked, can you crowd all the tragic and comic faces of mankind into one face? It is apparent that Jesus Christ, like beauty, is in the eye of the beholder.